All right, for today's video review, we're going to be taking a look at another JunkBot, and this time around we are taking a look at Prowler. Uh, Prowler is not my favorite JunkBot. It's really, I think, probably the worst one that I've found. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a floppy mess, and like it's just kind of boring, even if it worked totally perfectly. But here's Prowler. He's got a little, I guess, headlight sort of eye there. It's more like the kind of light that you'd have on like a moped or something like that, with like the full casing rather than being plucked out of a car or whatever. He's got a little propeller on his back, and that's kind of fun. And then he's got these three little legs here. This wheel piece that has kind of this neat gearing mechanism. This wheel piece, which is like an average, regular wheel piece, and the this little bendy leg here, which is pretty cool. I'm not really sure what the main part of the body is supposed to be. I guess it's like a carburetor or something. I don't know, some kind of non-distinct car part, I would imagine. I don't really know car parts, even at the best of times, but I'm not sure this one looks like anything totally specific. But yeah, something about this piece, this body piece, just the ball joint like sockets on it are just they don't really work that well. So he kind of constantly like falls apart. I noticed that like when I was trying to do another build with him that his this piece kind of split a little bit, which means that this ball joint section just like really can't hold much of anything. There's probably a way to fix that, but I don't know if it's totally worth it. It's easier to just like get around that by using specific parts in builds and stuff like that. But in the intended build, it does not make him very fun to play with because the parts just fall apart. And I don't think he looks like really that fantastic otherwise. Here he is with his little instructions thing here. You can see he's supposed to sit like much more flat to the ground, which he can't really do unless you just like straight up have the body on the ground. And he just looks like a, I don't know, dead robot. It's not great, but here's the little parts build out there. He's if we bring on the modules here, the the vibrating one I grabbed two of the motor ones. One sec. There we go. If you plug on the vibrating one here, his little Jesus, his little section down here is underneath like that. And if we can just put these parts back on, I'm fairly certain I know what's going to happen here when I turn on this vibrating section. But considering it's already happening when I don't even have that on, yeah, he just falls apart. And the vibrating section doesn't even really stay on him that well. So, that doesn't really work. The motor section, if you plug that one on, this one I actually think is kind of fun. If you can get it to work, you have to kind of line the gear up properly, but it makes the little propeller spin. That's fun. That's cool. But unfortunately, like any little vibration with this guy really makes him start to fall apart. That's not too bad if I could just get the head to stay on. There we go. Yeah, that kind of works. He kind of stays up like that. Unfortunately, like his legs, aside from falling off, are also kind of weak, so he has a hard time kind of, keeping any of these modules underneath him without it making him collapse. And then last but not least, if I could get him to stay together for, like, it's not even usually this bad, but literally have not had this guy together since the first time that I put it together, just because I've rather just used the parts for other things. But to take the LED module, you could plug one into the head here, either on the top or on the sides. Yeah, there's not really any way to illuminate this clear plastic piece that holds on one of his legs, but he does have holes in the side of his body here that you can plug that into. Come on, man. Stay together. Work with me here a little bit. It's just like actually pretty comical how the parts won't even stay on all together at the same time. Skip the last leg there. Yeah, and if you do that, it definitely lights up his eye fairly efficiently. I think that looks fairly good. Doesn't really look that great on camera, but yeah, there we go. We get the right reflection there. And then the body piece here, it kind of just lights up these little gaps here on the side. So, you know, it's fine. It's not as exciting as some of the other junk bots incorporating with the LED piece. So yeah, I don't know. Really, I think that most of his problems kind of stem from this body section being not great in really pretty much any regard. Like it's not really that interesting compared to a lot of JunkBot's parts. It's a little bit unstable in the way it's put together. And the features with it aren't that great. I think that the motor one is the most successful because it turns this section, and that's fun for putting a little propeller in there. But you know, that's all right, but that's like kind of its one redeeming quality. In terms of comparisons, here it was with a G1 minibot, core class transformer, a bot, and with jack static, just for gosh, you think he's unstable where he falls over all the time. He's got Prowler beat, even though can't get him to stand right now. Whatever. There they are together. So yeah, you know, I've been rating these guys in keep, edit, or scrap. I think you can guess what that is with this one. This one is scrap, since he's wanting to do that on his own anyway. These parts, I think some of the parts are pretty cool. I do like this leg piece with the hinge joint there. Oh, I didn't really go over articulation. I mean, you can mostly see it. The leg can move around here. It's got this hinge section. Obviously, a ball joint on the little radar dish piece on his foot. This piece can kind of hinge up like that with this gearing mechanism, and then obviously the wheel can rotate. This one, you know, can move around, the wheel can rotate, and there's two sections, the little head and neck here. But I like a lot of these parts. The body piece I'm not thrilled with, but there are ways to use it where it's a little bit more stable. I really like this piece. I think this is a fun piece to use in other builds. And I like this head as well. I like the little car headlight or the moped headlight as a head. I think that works pretty well. But yeah, it's kind of a floppy mess when all put together. I don't really like Prowler as an individual, but using some of these parts for something else, I think can be a little bit more fun. Just like this guy that I built using the main body section there. And I like that kind of build. And again, you know, it kind of works to its strengths a little bit. It's much easier to have something plugged in here in the bottom if it's using both of the ball joint sections rather than just one. This arm still kind of tends to fall out a little bit, but seems like this piece has a little bit tighter tolerance on the ball joint there. And I just like it being more of an upright piece, and then it can still do the fan feature. It just, you know, is on the chest rather than on the back. So yeah, you know, there's better ways to use these pieces, but overall, I think the body is just kind of not a great body section compared to a lot of the other fun JunkBots bodies, but whatever. Either way, that's Prowler. Again, really not my favorite. He's kind of a neat bot, but you know, compared to all the other junk bots, I you know, even if it stayed together perfectly, I don't really think it has as much charm as most of the other junk bots do. So yeah, that's pretty much him. If you enjoy my videos, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing. I do reviews every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And without further ado, here we have Hexbug JunkBots Prowler.